Man, I tell you, got a project in Lakeville, Minnesota, and it's cold up here. It's already snowed, and it's like October. I don't know who lives up here, but I think this is a beautiful, sunshiny day. It is pretty, but it's freaking cold. This episode, we're going to focus on the driver foot box, including putting the front panel on, which I had to have powder coated outside of my other stuff because Factory 5 didn't send me the right one the first time. But we got it back pretty quickly. He did it for free. They're so awesome. But anyway, we're going to put this panel on as well as the pedal box, the accelerator cable, and the accelerator foot pedal. Now you got to modify the foot pedal and the pedal box, and those instructions are in your manual. It's really pretty simple, and I really didn't show those to you. Got them knocked out. Had to repaint my pedals so they're drying. But we're going to focus on that this episode, and then we'll jump over and finish up the steering. Now before I sent my front panel here to the powder coater, I went ahead and pre-drilled the holes and had it already laid out. You see the Cleco's in place holding it. What I got to do now is take it off and drill the holes on the bottom to attach the foot box panel that we installed earlier, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll with the pedal box. So let's do that. Now we got our pedal box to mount, and this pedal box, as you may recall, came from my MPS Auto Salvage for the manual transmission. So what you have to do is you got to take this mounting plate off the back. You just drill out those 4 welds, and then it bolts directly. And you also need to trim off this plate here. The reason being is the accelerator pedal, as high as you mount it, hits it. So that's why they do it. The book doesn't really do a good job of explaining why you should do it. That's what I'm here for, to tell you why. So we slide this in here, and then it says to use 3/8 bolts to install this. We'll just do it kind of temporarily. You got to temporarily install it. You got to make these holes a little bigger because these 3/8 bolts won't quite go through here. And now you just kind of temporarily put it in place because we need to drill this hole out, which is where a mounting bolt goes through for the hydro booster. So we'll mark that and drill it. And now we got the pedal box mounted. We're going to do the accelerator cable and accelerator pedal. The cable from your donor is actually quite a bit shorter than the one that comes with your kit. Now the one that comes with your kit is kind of adaptable to all kind of different things. You're going to dig around in your hardware pack and find a 5/16 lock nut that works with this. It took me a minute to find that. There's a capture that you have to cut and put on the pedal. I'll show you how to do that as well. But next we're going to go ahead and install the pedal, and then we'll install the brake cable right here, like so, with this 5/16 nut. I'll go ahead and put it in because get it out of the way. I'll need 2 1/2-inch wrenches to tighten that up. Okay, just like the foot box, you got to do some modifications to the accelerator pedal, which means moving it up because it's too long down in the foot box. So the next thing, as we just said, with that accelerator cable, it's just got a small ball. It comes with a capture, so we'll nip this capture, stick it into the pedal, slide the ball in there, we'll be good to go. But first we're going to go ahead and get this stuck in there and mount the pedal to the car, and that's done with these little 1/4-inch socket head, 1/4-inch nuts, and washers. Okay, we've snipped this capture, and now we need the ball to stick through it first before we put the capture in the pedal because it gets too tight. Like so. Then we'll squeeze that in there. We'll get some pliers, squeeze that in, then we'll mount the pedal. Tighten those up. There we go with the pedal box installed. We've got it bolted in, as well as the accelerator pedal and cable. So things kind of make sense once you put them in. You can see how the pedal, if you didn't cut that little piece off of the box right there, the pedal would hit it. So that's why you have to do that. So you're like, well, that makes no sense. Well, now it does. And also to shorten the pedal, if it was at its normal height, it'd be hitting the bottom of the foot panel. So there it is, all installed. I think we'll work on some steering gear now. Now that the foot box is out of the way, we can hook up some steering here. And that's going to start with a steering bearing pillar that goes here, a shaft that will go through to another bearing here, and then on down to our power rack. Now our power rack for the 04 has the pyramid shape. Thank goodness that one has the pyramid shape because it came from after manufacture. And then there's a special universal joint that has that shape that will attach to there. So that's what we're going to do now, putting all of these in and have the steering ready to go. Getting closer and closer to having a rolling car. Just following up setup again, you can go ahead and get your tools as listed in your manual and go ahead and get everything laid out, including finding the hardware in your box of hardware, which is always fun to go through about for the 1,500th time. And then I got my steering shafts down there. So with everything laid out, we'll start with this pillar that goes nearest to where the steering wheel goes. The pillow block has set screws that go toward the back of the car. We'll just loosely install this because you got to line everything up. Now the flange bearing to the front of the foot box, it's this lower hole because the upper hole is where the power booster goes, hydro booster. Put the U-joint on for the 2004 Power Rack modular. It's idiot proof. It only goes on one way. And it has a little Allen head set screw back here. We'll tighten that up. So you have a lower, a middle, and upper steering shaft. The lower and the upper slide into the middle. And what we do is, so there's one of these, so this is, you won't use this one because that's for another steering rack. So this connects the lower to the upper, or the lower to the middle one. And what we'll do is take this set screw out, push it up in here, and kind of use a drill bit and make a little indentation so it has a good seat to sit into. And we need to do it as on the bottom of the where it ties into the steering rack as well. So I'm going to do that real quick and then I'll show you connecting it. Here's what that looks like. Just a little 3/16 and a 5/16 to create a little divot in there for that to sit on. And then as you put this in, it'll be smooth back here, obviously, so it doesn't bind. You mark that first. Now we'll attach this mid one. Now you slide the mid in to the lower one. Had to find my set screw. The upper shaft we're going to slide in through this bearing and check and make sure it's clear in this 2x2 tube here before we tighten everything down. You can already tell that I've got plenty of clearance there, so no need to raise this pillar. There's two spring clips that go in right here. I need to put those in and then we'll tighten everything up. So you see these embossed areas right here for the upper shaft. There's these spring washers that comes with the kit. It's actually in box number 1, so be careful when you're unpacking it. Make sure you don't lose them. Put those in there and tap this thing in. Okay, now we'll tighten these two these bearings up. All right, there's our steering all installed, complete all the way down to our new power rack. So one last thing I'm going to do for this episode is put this driver's side foot box aluminum in. And for the modular engine, it's modified and it's rather complicated. So you can see I've got quite a few clecos in it. We're going to drill, put this thing in. We're not putting the top in. I just got it sitting here. And pop that in real quick. One last thing we're going to do for the aluminum is cover up all these beautiful rivets, because that really ruins the look of the powder coated panels. So what I do is take a little satin paint to match the powder coating and just touch it up with a little paint. Might take a minute or two because there's only about 500 of these, but it looks so much better. Man, I tell you, that inside foot box wall is a task. You got to put it in, take it out like 10 times, mark it, drill it. You want to make sure you drill these top holes here before you put it in. We got it in, and that is pretty much going to be it for this episode. Got the steering box in, got the steering, pedal box, lots going on. Now we're going to move on to the fuel system, starting with the tank. Next up, we're going to get this driver's side foot box done as soon as Mommy gets out of my angle so I can do my stuff.